Welcome back, guys. Coach Barrick here, Equity Podcast, bringing you tools to be fit for life. We're talking about what is CrossFit, sort of, and then it's going to transition to what is CrossFit for each person. So the first thing is when I'm doing a no sweat intro with somebody, they're coming in for the first time, and I'll ask them, what is CrossFit? If you had to explain it to your mom, what is it? And what we hear a lot of time is hard or intensity or something like that. And sure, yes, it's intense. But intense is a relative term. Like, that's going to mean something different to everybody. Yes, we're going to do hard things. We're going to up our intensity. However, what I may think is intense is going to be different than somebody who's just starting. And then also, even if you're just starting, what you think is intense is not what we're looking for. That's not the type of intensity that we're looking for. We are not just intensity. What we are trying to be fit for life. We're trying to be able to do all the things that we want to be able to do in our life. If I want to be able to carry my daughter up the stairs, if I want to be able to get on the floor with grandkids, if I want to be able to go hike a mountain, if I want to do rim to rim, if I want to play flag football on the weekends, if I want to play volleyball on the weekends, right? Like, whatever life does, I want to be able to ask whatever I want to do with my life. I want to be able to do those things. I don't want those limitations. And some of that can be health related as well. I want to be healthy. I want to have a health span as long as I can. I want to be able to do things as long as I can. I want to live life to the fullest longer. And that's what we're trying to do. That's why we hit all areas of fitness, not just one, right? We're not just weightlifting. We're not just doing calisthenics and bodyweight movements. We're not just running and doing monostructural movements. We're doing it all, and we're doing it in short, long, medium distances. We want to hit all of the domains, or as many as we can, right? An hour. There's only so much time in a day, only so much we can put in an hour. But we can do a lot of work in an hour, 3 days a week. So yes, CrossFit is constantly varying functional movements at a high intensity, but again, intensity is relative. What we mean by, think about it this way, like, people think intense and they think laying on the ground and sweating and sweat angels and just like completely wrecked after each workout. That is not what we're looking for. Do we want to be able to do that? Sure. Do we want to do that sometimes? Sure. But that is not the all-encompassing thing. We talked about this last week. We want consistency. We want to be able to adjust our RPE, our relative perceived exertion, depending on how we're feeling. Think about the person that is not just off the couch, like somebody who hasn't, literally not doing anything, but think about the person who's going to the gym. They're hitting some machines, doing some strength stuff, right? And then they get on the recumbent bike, literally sitting back, leaning back, doing the recumbent bike thing, and then reading. Is that intense? It could be for somebody who's never done any working out, but if you're reading, you're probably not that intense. We just want to start trying to bring that up. If you can read during your workout, probably not a super intense workout. And we want to slowly build that up over time. So let's just try and get a little more intense above reading on a recumbent bike. Right? That's kind of like, that can be more intense. Going on the bike to where you can't read, that's a higher intensity. So that's just kind of like the general definition, kind of like what we're looking for. Fit for life, expand our health span, bring some relative intensity into the picture. Now, the next thing that we could talk about on a no sweat intro is why. Why are you here? Why are we working out? Why are we doing the things? And this is important because it's going to change why we're doing the things that we do. When we have different goals, we can do things a little bit differently. If your goal is simply health, longevity, we have a specific track for that. It's called the sweat track. It's going to be a little less of the advanced movements, advanced gymnastics. It's going to be a little bit lighter, because we don't need the advanced gymnastics and the super heavy weights to build strength and to be healthy and fit. So we can do that sweat track. But maybe we want to be a little bit more on the competitive side and do some of the heavy weights and go a little bit heavier, a little bit more volume. And we have the compete track for that. Like, we have different options in the group class for different goals. And even if we do have those different goals, that doesn't mean that we're just going that super high wreck every single workout. This is the fallacy when people start coming into workouts is like, hey, and if I want to be competitive, I got to wreck myself every time. And that's not it at all, right? We need to be able to practice and train, right? We should be practicing and training more than competing. The more competitive you want to be, probably the less competing you want to be doing. Professional athletes don't just play their sport constantly, right? They break it into drills and skills work. We want to be able, different people are going to do CrossFit differently, and that's okay. We have the different tracks. We also have people are going to do things in a different manner depending on how they see it. If I start out and want to be competitive, I might attack workout a little bit different than somebody who's just in here, social, just trying to be healthy and fit. And again, neither of those is wrong. It's just what's going to work for you, what keeps you motivated, what keeps you coming. The other thing is, when we take this different, CrossFit is different for each person. Competitive, not competitive. It's something you enjoy doing. It's something that you just kind of force yourself to do. When we pair that with the intensity thing, if we think, I'm just here for health and fitness, but CrossFit is all intensity and I have to do that, you're not working towards your goals, you're working towards somebody else's goals. And that's not helpful. We want to make sure that we're doing things the way that are going to help us towards our goal, right? So if we want to build strength, maybe we don't do kipping pull-ups. We just always do strict. There's nothing wrong with that. Or a version of a ring row or some kind of strict movement. If I have a shoulder issue or I have a shoulder mobility issue, I'm not going to do squat snatches. I'm going to make sure to adjust that. One movement isn't, you can take a movement out of what we do and it's still what we do. So we can adjust that based on your goals. Don't base what you're doing off of somebody else's goals. Base them off of your goals. Final piece. This is the reason I made this video, is this last piece. Is that what CrossFit means to you is going to change over time. And it should change over time. And it should probably change in intensity, in your goals, in how you attack workouts. It should change over time. I've been doing this since 2011, maybe 2010, depending on how you count it. I kind of started, then stopped, and then picked it back up. And I'm still doing group classes. And how I do CrossFit and why I do CrossFit and what it is has changed over time. I'm still doing all the same things, but I attack workouts different. I attack recovery different. I attack pretty much everything I do differently because I have different goals now. I have different time restrictions now. Not time restrictions. I have different goals. So now I put a little bit more effort into building equity as a business to help others, to help more people, to help our coaches feel accepted and supported and like they're helping, to be able to support our family, to be able to do all those things. I spend a little bit more time on this than I do training, right? Pre-L, I was doing about 2 hours a day in the gym. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But now my goals have changed slightly. My goal is no steps backwards, right? No injuries. But I'd still like competing. I'm not competitive, but I like competing. So I'm not going to go out of my way and go super hard and super intense just to be competitive, quote unquote competitive, and then end up hurting myself. I haven't had a major injury in probably over 7 years, I think. And that's because I'm making sure to do the right things for the right reasons. When we start doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons, or even the right things for the wrong reasons, that can lead to bad things. We talked about burnout last time with the RPE, relative perceived exertion. And if we think that, I went through my CrossFit phase, I'm done with that now, I think we're losing the bigger picture of what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to be fit for life, no matter what that is. That's a very general, vague thing on purpose. If at first I'm doing this to get jacked so I can pick up a girlfriend or something, that's okay. And then I'm like, oh wait, this is kind of fun. Like the competitive side is really fun. Dude, going to local comps and the open, like that's really, really cool. Now you got a little one, you're like, oh man, I want to get on the floor. I want to be able to run up the stairs and play soccer and do all those things. And working and running kids around for sports, that's a lot, man. I gotta be really efficient with my time. I can maybe get in 3 and then do 1 in the garage, maybe. Like CrossFit can fit all of those. I'm a grandparent. I just want to be able to live, go on hikes and play with the grandkids and do all that, right? CrossFit can fit all of those molds. But we just have to change our mindset around what we're doing as we grow throughout that program. And throughout that entire program, we can be doing group classes. We have all of those types of members in our group classes now. And I've gone through that, and I'm still doing group, and it's tons of fun. And now group isn't necessarily the end-all be-all, but all because your goals change slightly, just because your life situation has changed, doesn't mean you have to throw out everything. We just have to adjust how we do those things. And that can be hard. And that's when a coach can help. Excuse me. One of the big changes that we're trying to make in 2024 is to reach out to you guys more often and make sure that we're helping you get to where you want to get. Make sure you have that guidance and that accountability to help you get there. So, and again, I mentioned this last week, if you are feeling like things are starting to change, like your goals are starting to shift, like life has switched a little bit, and we need to reevaluate what we're doing and how we're doing it, and what your goals are and what we're working towards, let's sit down and talk about it and figure out, hey, what's the best way to get there? How can I make sure I am doing the right things for the right reasons, for the right goals? I hope this helped. If you think this would be helpful for somebody else to listen to, share it with them. Send them a link. I would appreciate it, and I think they would appreciate it too. If you think it'll help them, hopefully it will. As always, I really, really appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen a little bit, to try and gain some more tools for your toolbox. Don't forget, invest in yourself. Cheers, guys.